Okay, hi, and welcome to our Q&A with Dr. A Google Plus Hangout. We're so excited again to have with us a New York Times best-selling author and a leader in obesogenic prevention and co-founder of Take Shape for Life, Dr. Wayne Scott Andersen. And what we've typically done in preparation for these Hangouts is we have asked all of you to post your best questions that you'd like to ask Dr. Andersen yourself personally. So it's really exciting, and we received so many great questions. We want to thank all of you guys for your participation and your great questions. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. We just selected one question, and it was kind of a big question, so we wanted to take most of all the time to just have Dr. Andersen answer this one question, so we can explore this topic just a little bit more thoroughly. So. And before we get into that question, just a reminder for all of you guys to, as you're watching this Hangout and learning, to please post your takeaways on your Google Plus profile using the hashtag Optimal Health. So, Dr. Andersen, today the question revolves around what is a Triliologist and what does it take to become one? And so, first of all, we wondered what in the world is that, and what's kind of the story behind that?
Great, awesome. Well, thank you, Deborah, and it's great being online today with you guys and spend some time on it. It's actually a pretty cool thing. About 13 years ago, I left critical care to really focus on how I move people forward to create health in their life. One of the things as a critical care physician, I was reacting to disease. I certainly many times helped people from dying, but I never created radiant health for them. I never allowed them to thrive in their lives. I simply put Band-Aids on them, kept them from going into the next dimension, so to speak, and never really had much of an effect on them outside of the hospital. So one of the things, and also for myself, by the way, my own journey, I worked very hard. I worked 100 hours a week. My life was, when I first came out into critical care, I was single. I loved working the long, hard hours, had a ball doing it. But over time, over the years, met my lovely wife, Lori, who worked with me. We got married and we had kids. And my life was that, I want to spend more time with my kids. I love taking care of people, but I didn't have any time. And I'd see the kids. We both dropped the kids off at a daycare, and we were giving, our little precious gems to someone else to take care of during the day. And there were many times during the day when we missed them. And sometimes I wouldn't get home to really late at night, and they'd be like mannequins in their crib. It's really, why deal with childbirth and all that stuff if you got little mannequins in their cribs, right? So the bottom line is I felt inside of me a need for more fulfillment. I certainly was successful in my practice and lived in a nice house and very, very well known in the community. But I felt a part of me that was not in balance, that was out of balance. And so that's when I left, and I started on this journey to how do I help people, including myself and Lori and our family and other people I meet, really create long-term health. And the first part is the physical part. Certainly we want people to be as healthy as they can be from a physical standpoint. But basically how they think, whether they have meaning and purpose, whether their days are filled with involvement, fulfillment, and lots of great times with happiness with friends and family. And also the third part is financially. If someone is really struggling in those areas and not having a lot of fun and worrying about their bills, and they're worrying all the time about how they're going to make their payments, the negative feedback loops on that are directly detrimental to your health. So what I actually looked at initially, where the Triliologist term came from, was a Venn diagram. I actually sat down and looked and said, I'm going to focus on helping people become as healthy as they can be from a physical standpoint, and that's where, as you mentioned, I have 3 books now, Dr. A's Habits of Health, Living a Longer, Healthier Life, and the latest New York Times bestselling book, Discover Your Optimal Health. Our books really focused on how to awaken people and put them on track to help them with their physical and their mental health. But basically, all 3 are important. Their physical, their mental, and their financial. So Triliology is actually a Venn diagram where those 3 areas where they intersect, that's where optimal health occurs. When someone has time to be able to focus on the key ingredients to long-term physical health, are doing something that brings meaning and purpose to them. And the third is their finances are at least in order where they don't have to worry about about food and clothing, and they're able to enjoy and do the things they want, and providing those in balance. Because most people, unfortunately, early on, they sacrifice their physical and their mental health to become successful. In other words, in their jobs. And see so many cases of people in their 30s and 40s or 50 that have put their career before their family and before their health, and or 50 and suddenly have a massive heart attack and have the big house, but their family has left them. I mean, it just it's become almost commonplace in our society, and it's just not ideal. It certainly isn't optimal health. So Triliologists are people that over time have made the decision that they're going to create balance in those three key areas: physical, mental, and financial, and they're going to move forward and make sure that they're building progressive improvement in all three areas simultaneously. So what we've done with Take Shape for Life is create a vehicle where people can actually focus on all three areas and do something where over time, as they become more proficient as health coaches and business coaches, they can leverage their time by helping others and actually develop to the point where they can actually be in control of every aspect of their life. And I can tell you that is the definition of freedom. Freedom is when every aspect of your life you're in complete control of. And I know, Deborah, for you over the last, got a chance to know you more and more over the last several years, and I've watched this last 24 months, just the evolution of where you've gone in terms of your business and in your coaching, and now you are well on your way to becoming a integrated Triliologist.
Yeah, thank you. It's incredible because I think a lot of us didn't realize that something like that could be possible, that we could have balance in all different areas: healthy body, healthy mind, and healthy finances. So it's an incredible offering. And I know we also have on with us Stacey Phillips, who is starting along that journey towards being a Triliologist as well. Do you want to talk with her, Dr. A?
I would love to. Stacey, are you there?
Yes, Dr. A. Hello, I'm here. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yes, love to see your smiling face. And Stacey, it's interesting because in life sometimes we're given the opportunity to realize our dreams and our vision. And Stacey is a great example of someone that's on that journey to becoming a Triliologist. I mean, I want her to, in a minute here, I'm just going to kind of frame it. I'd love her to tell her story because where she was a few years ago and where she is now, she made the decision. And I want to make sure all our listeners today, whatever you decide to use as your vehicle to help you in these key areas, that's certainly up to you. We have some ideas on that and some things we put together which are congruent. But really for us, we would love for people to realize that no matter where you are on your journey through life, you have the opportunity to make a decision. And it's really about making that decision and then moving forward and making that a reality. So, Stacey, why don't you tell them where you were and kind of where you are now, because it just puts a big smile on my face.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. A. Yes. Well, a little less than 4 years ago, I was class 4, clinically super obese. I weighed about 150 pounds more than I do now. And I walked with a cane because my knees hurt so badly. I was about as big around as I was tall at 5'3".
Do you have a picture there? Do you have a picture there?
Yeah, I do. This was my before, a bunch of my before pictures. And so, a real awakening came for me when I got stuck in the turnstiles at Disney World on my son's Make-A-Wish trip. He had gotten a kidney transplant a year earlier, and I got stuck and literally had to back out in front of everybody and extricate myself and be let through the stroller gate without a stroller, and that was a real wake-up call for me. As well, my son's kidney doctor said the best thing we can do for him to ensure the length of his kidney is to live and model a healthy lifestyle ourselves. And when his nephrologist at Stanford said that to us, we were sitting in the chairs. My husband was 50 pounds overweight. I was 150 pounds overweight. And we just knew that something had to change, literally. And so I started on the path with Take Shape for Life, and shortly thereafter I became a health coach as well. Lost 150 pounds, but more importantly, my focus was really turned to health. And my whole paradigm shifted to the act of creating health. So my life has changed in so many ways, and just focusing quickly on the healthy body part, because that's where I started. You know, in a period of being severely obese, I needed to attain a healthy weight, and so I just got done last month running the marathon in Paris, a full marathon that I trained for, and in maintenance, and was just thrilled. So that's how far I've come with the healthy body aspect of it, and the healthy mind, I think, goes all part and parcel. We developed that with the wonderful tools that you provided as well, Dr. A's Habits of Health, and also the mentorship of my coach and my mentorship team as a health coach was really vital for me to look to them and look to their wisdom and see people who inspired me, and I wanted to do what they did, and so I followed on their path. So becoming a health coach about 3 years ago, I was able to bring my husband home from work 2 years ago, retire him to homeschool our now 9-year-old son, because he's homeschooled, and that's such a wonderful. It was unexpected at the beginning when I became a coach. I had no idea that I could dream so big, and that they could actually come true by doing the work. So helping people and creating healthy finances for myself, I'm on the path to creating even more healthy finances, because we want freedom, and time is our currency with our family, and that's so important to us. So that's my situation as far as the healthy mind, healthy body, healthy finances, and I'm always seeking to improve. It's never done. I'm still, you know, focused on health and focused on helping people and achieving our own dreams as well. So.
No, that's great. No, I mean, I just sit there and just to see the smile on your face, and I would just imagine, I was visualizing back, you know, how it must have felt that day when you were caught in the turnstile, and you know, and how you feel now. And you know, the important part there is that people say, well, I need to build my self-confidence. You know, my daughter was talking. She's a cheerleading. They do actually professional cheerleading, and she's, you know, it's amazing how athletic, and but the mental part of that, of course, is, you know, and the synchrony of that. And she was talking about, you know, about increasing her confidence. And I said, you increase your confidence by success. It's not something you can suddenly just go, well, I'm confident now, and you know, and I'm going to think I'm confident. Confidence comes from success. And you know, if we look back, and you know, you're running a marathon in Paris. You know, I mean, that day in the turnstile, I think if I came up to you and said, you know what, Stacy, you need to be confident because you can run a marathon in Paris, you would have said, boy, Doc, you know, you must be out of your mind, because there's no way possible I could instill in you that. And so that's really important, isn't it?
It is, and taking the next step, taking the appropriate next step, and taking that action. I didn't go from 272 pounds to running a marathon. It was a process, but I'll tell you, even 2 weeks into my program 4 years ago, I was joyful. I felt, I knew that I had in my hands the tools that I needed, and I knew that I could do it. And just one day at a time, literally one day at a time, following the plan, doing the steps as they come, and just continuing to progress because of what I wanted to create, not because I wanted to get out of my life, but what I wanted to create with the process.
Exactly. And then the other thing is not being perfect, right? There's probably some times on the way when you weren't perfect, when you had a bad day. And you know, the difference for everybody is, you know, as we really focus on this, you know, as you explore, and I just watch, I mean, I could see just this incredible aura of just how great you feel. I mean, you know, that journey starts, you know, because it doesn't happen overnight. We don't get unhealthy. You know, I call it non-sick, but you don't have to have medical disease states to be non-sick. In other words, what I mean by that, over the years, you know, getting heavier and heavier by eating the wrong things and not moving, having a lot of stress, all those things hold such a tale for us. And to kind of unfold that and unravel all that dysfunction that's occurred isn't going to happen by one thing. It's not, you know, using meal replacements, or it's not using just meditation, or it's not any one thing. It's all those things together. And the more you start losing weight, the better you feel, the more your body moves, the more time you have, and you sleep better. When you sleep better, it becomes easier for you to meditate, to know how to stop, challenge, and choose when you feel stress in your life, to spend those moments of mindfulness, to now have the time when you're rested and you have maybe more resources, is to to really focus on, things such as yoga and meditation. I mean, a healthy mind is one of the key parts of the trilogy, and be something we always want to advocate. But part of it is also the discipline of saying, I've made this choice. I'm going to do this. I'm going to face my fears. I'm going to turn around, and I have a community of like-minded people that are there. The support part, and what we're doing today is that, we're sitting here today hoping that, people will realize and see that what we're doing is about gathering more people that are becoming part of a community where health's important to us. It's not a cult. It's not a society. It is literally individuals that realize by creating health for ourselves and reaching out and helping others, we're creating a new underlying environment. In 2006, the New England Journal of Medicine showed that people that hang around obese people become obese. They don't even have to be geographically next to each other, just by having the relationship and modeling people that are living the habits of disease, hanging out with the wrong people, going to the wrong restaurants. They are more likely to become obese. And so what we're saying is, hey, we're just a bunch of individual people. This is not a society of people that have taken the magic amulet. This is a group of people that said, you know what? Just like freedom. When those buildings fell down in New York City in 2001, and on 9/11, we came together because one of the commonalities of Americans is we believe very much in freedom. And when our freedom is threatened, we unite very quickly in that. That's kind of what we're doing here. Our health should fundamentally be just as important to us as our freedom, because without health, you really have very little freedom. You're constrained to all the things that occur, including, by the way, not being able to go through the turnstile. I mean, I know that's an extreme example, but it could be that you don't feel like getting up and playing with your kids, or going out to the park with them, or eating a healthy meal with them. Instead, you grab a McDonald's hamburger because it's fast and easy, because you just don't feel well. And all those things are interrelated. And so what we're really talking about, the idea of becoming a Triliologist, is to set off and say, I'm going to focus now on what's most important in my life. And hopefully your physical, mental, and financial health are all things that are right up there as fundamentally very important. But what we want to do is create a path for you to be able to do those things so that they're not at a sacrifice of the other ones. So many people have so many material goods and are so miserable in their life, and there's so many people that basically may love what they're doing, but they're 100 pounds overweight and are not physically in great shape, and they love people but can't go out and share because they can, as you said, they can hardly get off the couch. So what we're in essence saying is, becoming a Triliologist is an idea. It's an idea that can become a reality by making a decision that, you know what, I'm going to focus on creating optimal health in my life. Certainly for most people, that's starting with their physical health, but it doesn't have to be. It may be that you're really not happy in your job, or maybe you're not really in a job that's bringing you satisfaction or bringing you the financial wherewithal that you need to be able to live in the standard that's important to you. So whatever place that is, what we're doing here is saying, hey, it's something that interests you. We'd love to have you come. So I'm watching, Stacey, where you are now. You've really worked on the physical. The mental's coming right along, and the financial's starting to happen for you as well. I mean, you were able to go to Paris. I mean, and there's a lot of people wish they could just go to Paris and ride around on the bus, much less run a marathon. So you're a great example of that. So just so excited about watching your transformation.
Thank you. And may I just add one more thing?
Absolutely.
You're right. It doesn't happen overnight, but incrementally, when you bring in those changes and incrementally you master them and you practice them daily, incremental, seemingly small incremental changes, if you practice them daily, they just produce stunning results over time. And it takes time, but it takes time of daily action toward where you want to go. And so I just want to encourage everybody to take those steps every day and know that you're making a difference in your health, your mind, your finances, and just let time pass and do the work.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's time, isn't it? What I like people to understand is there are two paths. One is to kind of allow your design, which is to conserve and store energy, let that mindlessly go throughout every day, and over time you're kind of discharging your battery and you're heading on a path towards disease. And it may not happen. People go, oh my goodness, I thought they were so healthy, and they weren't. Usually if you underlook their choices, it's years and years of poor choices that leads people to disease. The same thing is just as possible. Everybody has the opportunity today, no matter where you are on that path, to make the decision that I now want to create health in my life, and they create a process over time. So either time is either your ally or it's your enemy. And what we're really about is making time your ally. And from right today, you can make the decision that I'm going to now head on a new path, and that path can be everything. It can be anything you want it to be. It can be just focusing on your physical health. It can be focusing on your mental health. It can be focusing as well on your financial health, or as I like to say, and why we wanted to make the topic of this talk, it's the idea of becoming a Triliologist. In other words, embracing that for me to truly control every aspect of my life and move forward and have balance in all three, I need to find a vehicle and find the circumstance, find the mentorship and the people to help me move forward and make that a reality. So, Stacey, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Dr. A, for having me. Have a great day.
Great. Well,
Yeah.
Deborah?
Yeah.
Pretty cool, right?
I was just going to mention one thing too, is that you know, my husband and I are recent Triliologists, and what being a Triliologist really means to me is having control over nearly every aspect of your life, and it's such a powerful place to be. And I just wanted to share something about what we did in January. Is that you know, we live here in Utah, and the winters can be really bad. And this winter was especially really rigid and awful. And my husband and I looked at each other in January, and we were like, oh, we just don't want to go through this winter. This is just going to be really bad. And it dawned on us that we didn't have to. And it was incredible. And you know, we have a young family. We have a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, an 11-year-old, and a 13-year-old. And we really, it hit us that, you know, why don't we go to Mexico? And so within a few days, we booked a trip to Mexico, and we worked with our kids' teachers and things like that. We went there and we stayed for 6 weeks, and it was just incredible. And we've never even thought like that before, that we don't have to do certain things. And you know, our kids had the best, honestly, the best schooling of their life. We saw the Chichen Itza pyramids. We went and just explored a lot of amazing things and really spent a lot of time together as a family. And I think for me, that's what it means, is being able to have opportunities like that, and being able to be in a position where you can really dream and do the things that you've always wanted to do that you never thought you could do. And you know, it really brings a lot of joy and happiness, and it's a wonderful thing that that you've created, Dr. Andersen, with the tools that you have, and through the Habits of Health system and everything else that's available to all of us. It really, truly is, you know, so.
Well, that's great. And Deborah, I love that, you know, again, the smile on your face as you recite that, you know, relate what happened during that period. And, you know, that's the thing that most people say, you know, when I retire, I'm going to do that. You know, I'm going to retire, I'm going to do that. And, you know, it's interesting, but it's available for everybody. That's the cool thing about what we're doing. It's a decision, and everybody can have it. Now, everybody will take a little different time for it to happen, but over time, you can literally create what you want in your life. And what we've done is create a kind of a template of this journey towards becoming a Triliologist that people can enter and move along at their own pace. I mean, some people love their job. Some people really just want to work on their physical health, you know, and some people just want to have more meaning and service for others. And then there's some people that truly want to be able to go for 6 weeks and not have to look to see how much that costs to do that. And I think that's a little different for each person. But what I can tell you is the more that we develop this, you know, this started with my desire to help people create physical health. There was no question about it. It started with the Habits of Health from the vantage point. How do I help you? Diets don't work by themselves. Exercise doesn't work by itself. What I want to do is create a system that looked at all the aspects of our daily choices and move people forward to create long-term physical health. But what I realized that their mental and their financial health, their spirituality, the opportunity to spend the time during their day to do the things that are important to them, all those things were incredibly important in the whole big picture of optimal health. And so now what I'm seeing, which is really interesting, is I continue to study this, and I have the time to, rather than, you know, go into the hospital and be there for 20 hours and just barely get through the day, I have time to continue to grow and explore myself, which is really exciting. You know, I was at a meeting last week with some top people in the world in business, and most of them in their vehicles they're struggling. They maybe really excel in one area, but usually it's a great expense away from their families, or they're working so many hours in their business, and that's okay. But I think if you can actually find the mechanism, I think now the more I realize it, it's not natural for us to be stuck in a cubicle all day long inside an office building. It's not natural in the morning that if your kids are sick, you have to weigh whether you're worried about what your boss is going to think about and go to work versus be there. And I think those are the things that are becoming so. Both you, Stacy, and Deborah, for you and for our Triliologists, is what, you actually have control over every aspect. And if one of your children don't feel well, you can give them their attention. If there's something that's going on at their school that you need to be at, you make sure that goes into the red as being not compromised by anything else in your day. And you're able to adapt. I hear so many stories of people being able to be with their parents and their grandparents, at their end of life, to be there to things they otherwise wouldn't have been able to do. And it's really a tragedy that most times it's just like they have to decide, do I want to be there for the last couple days, or do I want to be there for the funeral? Not to be able to go a month in advance and stay with a parent, a grandparent that's old and getting ready to go to the next level in their journey. And so what's cool about what we're doing is true freedom. I'm absolutely convinced. Once you become a Triliologist, you never go back, because it's now such a place and such a powerful place. And it's a place where you become sated. You actually become so full inside that more and more you want to give. And that's like for doing these hangouts. If we can help other people awaken their desire and say, you know what, I want more in my life. And you know what, life is not something to get through. Oh, I made it to the end. It's like a big adventure that we want people to awaken and enjoy. And I know that I'm just seeing the smile on your face, that's what's happening for you guys now. I mean, to take off, to imagine that your world could change so much now that you could take 6 weeks and take your family down there and have that kind of meaningful time together. I mean, it's cool. The girls and I, we go on our sailboat and we go out to the out islands and we're there exploring. My 17-year-old just, she absolutely is the top student in her oceanography class. I wonder why. Since she was a little kid, she's been on the ocean and in little islands and learned more about ocean critters more than sometimes than her professor did. So that's the cool thing, to be able to really follow those things and be there for each other. So I don't know, any last things you want to say before we call it a day?
No, I think that's great, and we really want to keep these hangouts to 20 to 30 minutes, so we'll wrap up here, and we just want to thank Stacy so much for being on. Thank you, Dr. Andersen, for your time. And just for everybody, please remember to post your takeaways, things you've learned from this on your Google Plus Hangout. Under your profile, use the hashtag Optimal Health, and we will see you next time on Google Plus.
Awesome. See you guys, and remember, make the decision to create optimal health in your life. Thanks.
Thanks.